They buried me in the water and I came out new. Ha ha. Now I'm baptized in blue.
I'm a fighter, I'm a winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got grit. See, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, never winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got grit. See, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue.
Welcome to the Changing the Culture podcast with your host, me, Autumn Clifford. This is the only self-help podcast hosted by a female cop. I want to welcome you. If you loved that intro, then I want you to go to the end of my podcast and make sure you listen to that music, that tune. It's called Baptized in Blue by One Time Music. He's a fellow police officer. You can find him anywhere you can listen to music. He's amazing. I'm really excited to have you here. I hope that you enjoy this podcast episode as much as I enjoyed making it for you. Sheepdog Nation, I'm super excited about tonight. I'm super excited about this podcast. We have my good friend Dominick Izzo on the podcast. I want to warn every single one of you tonight, it's coming in hot just like it always is. So if you have children around or if you are someplace in public and you don't have headphones on, put headphones on because we're just going to speak the truth. Dom, tell everybody who you are. So excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm just me. Well, this is law enforcement, correct? So
Yes.
I guess my story pertains to that. I'm officially a retired police officer from the northwest suburbs of Illinois. I spent my career in Lake County, Illinois, which is the county north of Cook County, where Chicago is. We got all the element that Milwaukee chased out of and Chicago chased out. So I had a very colorful career, if you will. I'm a problem child. I'm a black sheep. I'm a idealist, if we go down that path as far as law enforcement, but I started my career in March of 2001 and officially retired October 8th of last year, 2019. So in a nutshell, the 360-degree view of it, that's who I am in this career, if you will, or in pertaining to law enforcement.
So what do you do now, Dom?
Now everything, entrepreneur. So law enforcement, radio, financial education. My first book was published January this year. Cigars, coffee, anything that I can wind up dabbling into that I'm passionate about.
Yeah, we had your cigars and coffee. We loved it. And
Thank you.
you do real estate too?
You
now?
wait, why did you order my coffee or my cigar and coffee? Would have sent you some.
You did. You sent it to me.
Oh, okay. Thank God. Good.
And I have your book. So everybody should go get your book. What's it called? Is it called Behind the Badge?
Well, Before the Badge, everything you
Before
need
the
to know before you become a cop. It's available on Amazon.
Yes, great book. I have it. So Dom, what I want to talk to you about is the power of authenticity. So I want people to hear a little bit about your story because I think like every officer can relate to this. But I think what's also really important and that I want my mastermind to hear specifically is how you've just continued. You just show up. I mean, it's like no matter what's going on, you just show up and you're just you. And so if anybody is not following Izzo on Instagram, go do it because he's just going to tell you what he thinks at all times. And how do you do that?
I don't care. It's simply that. There's no other formula other than that. People ask all the time, how are you? We need more people like you. No, there's millions and millions and millions of people like that out there like me, but I authentically do not care. And that's a double-edged sword because it's gotten me and it's broken through so many plateaus and plains and afforded me as many opportunities as I have now. But the cost was more than most people are willing to pay. And I was just willing to pay for it. So for everybody out there, and we're a group where we don't care about language, right?
Right. No, absolutely not.
I don't like to swear for the sake of swearing, but at the same point in time too, if you follow my stuff, I am extremely vocal. I'll drop the C word every chance I get. It's one of my favorites.
Me too.
Yeah. Everybody out there who says that they don't, I have zero fucks. I give zero. God, so many people, that's a lie. I literally don't. But again, that came through a lot of pain. It came through a lot of sacrifice and the cost with every type of relationship possible, professional, friendship, dating. It was a massive price to pay until I got to the position where people like you recognize that I'm authentic, because that honestly is more important to me than anything. I don't care if people like me. I don't care if people hate me. I want to be on my funeral deathbed looking all over whoever decides to show up, and I just hear, I hated that piece of shit, but I respected him.
Yeah.
That's all I care about.
I love that. Now, Dom, bring me back. How did this start? Like, what happened? You said a lot of pain. This came from a lot of pain. Talk to me about that.
I'm a people pleaser.
Mhm.
I'm a law enforcement. What are we? We're public servants.
Yeah.
And understand something. I don't mean to disrespect any of you who are cops. When I use the word we, I'm not one of you anymore. And my story is very colorful, but when I say it, it's because that I still believe in the ideology of it. So I went in law enforcement with the concept of I'm going to change the world. I came from a retail background, a restaurant and bartending background, and then I went into law enforcement. So I had customer service, was everything, people pleaser, people pleaser. And one of the reasons that the military takes men who are 18 years old is that there's such an eager and profound need to prove their worth and get validation from superiors. And I got into law enforcement at 26, and I still carried that over. I never went in the military. It's my only regret in life, but I had the desire to get the pat on the back. I dated a woman who I was 22 years old, and I used to work at TGI Fridays back in the 90s. And we had these thing called WOW pins, WOW. And you got them for exceptional performance at work, right? You did something above and beyond, and your table complimented you. Well, the manager would give you a WOW pin for that day, and you would pin it on your vest or your suspenders, our flare. For those who saw that movie, I can't remember what it was.
I don't know. I'm not a movie buff.
Oh yeah, but you only have 10. You have 10 pieces of flares, the minimum.
I don't know.
And the girl I was dating at the time says, we need to get you just a giant WOW hat because you just all you're doing is seeking approval. And in relationships, that cost me a lot. Because when I went through the dating of 20s and 30s, it was put women on a pedestal. And that's going to get you. It's just like the movies, right? Every guy's supposed to sit there and just do everything we can and stand outside in the rain with a boom box and pour our heart. And that was a catalyst of showing me that I was starving for the acceptance and approval of whoever would give it for me. And back then it was relationships, friendships. And then it was obviously, here's a sergeant, here's a commander, here's a lieutenant. Good job, Izzo. Good job. Oh my God, this is fantastic. It was great.
Right.
That set me up for massive pain and failure for getting passed over for specialty positions, for getting passed over for assignments in law enforcement.
Why?
For those of you who do know you are a cop, you know that in law enforcement, I went in busting my ass and hoping that, they're going to give me the canine. Nobody told me that you want something as a cop, you have to go get it. You have to go up to your sergeant and say, I want the canine position. I want the defensive tactics position. I want the FTO position. And then you had to prove that you were worthy of it. So I had a non-existent ego, which always had that air of, I don't deserve this unless somebody else says that I deserve it. So that was the biggest hurdle I had to get over, and law enforcement taught me.
That's huge.
Over it. Very much.
Can we just underline that really quickly? Like, I want everybody to hear what he just said. He just said that he had this ideology in his head that he only deserved something, or he was only good enough if somebody else said he was. There are so many of you walking around thinking the same thing. I am not good enough unless my boss says I am. I am not good enough unless my boyfriend, my husband, my girlfriend, my wife, my family says I am. How about you're good enough because you are? How about that? So Dom, when did that shift take place for you?
So I took some time out of law enforcement for a little while. I went back into the bar industry, and when I went back into law enforcement, I didn't have the shock value of having your badge and title taken away. One of the things that I was the most afraid of was not having that officer title in front of my name. So when I took a couple of years off, I was like, okay, it's really not that big deal. I'm just me again, right? I'm Dominick Izzo again. And then I went back into law enforcement, and I'm not sure if any of you remember, but in 2015 in Lake County, Illinois, in Fox Lake, there was a big case of the Lieutenant Charles G.I. Joe Glenowitz case. And that was a Fox Lake lieutenant for 2 months. We were under the impression that he was ambushed by 3 people, shot and killed. Massive national outcry pouring into, big funeral. a pomp and circumstance, all that stuff. And then 2 months later finds out he killed himself. And it was all over 60 Minutes and all this kind of stuff. Well, long of the short of the story is that right around that time, my department was starting to do things that it should not do. It's personal. My police chief is about as corrupt as they get. And I started to call things out. It didn't sit well with me, the ideology of where law enforcement was going. I got tired of being a public revenue generator. I got tired. I mean, I was golden boy and a half. I was an FTO. I was on NIPUS, which is our equivalent of SWAT up in Northern Illinois, because most departments aren't big. So what NIPUS does is it draws 2 or 3 guys from each department and then puts them all into a collective SWAT agency. So if Gurnee, Illinois has a high priority call, you know, all the NIPUS guys get together and they go to that town. It's like a mutual aid for a fire department. I was defensive tactics instructor, use of force expert, and I had everything, right? Fiduciary on the pension board. I was even union president. I delved myself into that career and set myself up for the loss of, well, I'm sure some of you know this, when you don't perform, maybe they take away your brand new squad car and put you back in the one that, you know, nobody wants to drive. Well, you're not performing the way they want to. All of a sudden, you know, you can't get the days off you want. Or maybe you bid for one shift, you get another. All of you know how your command staff fucks with you when it comes down time to the personality problems and conflicts that you just can't really prove, but you know is happening. So I had a lot to lose. And my department went through a couple different very big cases of where women were put into prison falsely. And that's just what it was. Our body cameras were recording us 24/7. If any of you have WatchGuard body cameras from out of Texas, they record nonstop, not that 30-second loop. They record nonstop. And we found one day, wow, I'm in the bathroom. I'm texting and you can see my text message is clear as day. I'm literally taking my pants off in the bathroom. And we went through this big thing with our department. I had to make a choice. It was either go against the chief or, or just shut my mouth and keep doing my job like a good boy. I did. They found a department policy to ding me on after 8 months of our initial claim with this. I had texted a photograph of a woman who bled out from a ruptured upper GI. I showed up to a call. 84-year-old woman is found face dead in her bedroom, pool of blood. I text the photo to a friend of mine. Have a falling out of the front with a friend. The friend decides he wants to go to my chief and says, look what Dominick texted me. So they offered me resign or we're going to fire you for disseminating department property without express permission, chief of police. Fuck you. I said, fire me. I did nothing wrong. I knew what was going to happen. They terminated me. It took 3 years, but I got reinstated and I was allowed to retire. That was the catalyst, was standing up for what I believed in. But what makes me fundamentally different from everybody else and why I'm able to pay a different price, a higher price, if you will, for integrity. I'm not married and I have no kids. And I had other streams of income coming in. So I wasn't worried about a paycheck being lost. A lot of people out there, they can't stand up for what their department's doing because how the hell are you going to pay your mortgage? How the hell are you going to support your families? All this kind of stuff. It was a very easy choice for me. That was a bolder situation and a catalyst for me to start saying, you said something, now you have to follow through. Where all the way before, it was really never an issue. During that time, I had started also to get some social media notoriety. I did a video right when Glenowitz, the murder-suicide, was being investigated, on what it really means what it really means when you thank a cop. It was a 5-minute video. You know, this was before Facebook Live or anything. So I just pull over the side of the road one day and I take a video of on my iPhone, post up online. Next thing you know, I got followers all over the place. It's being shared to Police One. It's being shared on all these police publications. All my brethren, if you will, they're loving who I am. All of this. I do another video. This one gets 500,000 views. The next one I did, it was on how people should just comply with police no matter what. Fight it in court, but fight it in court, but comply on the street. Adam Carolla is talking about it on his radio show. Other celebrities share, and that gets 1 million views in 3 days. Wow. Now my social media starts to grow. That created animosity within the department, but it created accountability with me, because now I'm saying things that some of my brethren don't agree with, but I'm saying it. And the problem, or what I saw as a problem with me to begin with, is I don't ever weigh something before I speak it. I'm an external processor. I'm an introvert, but I'm external processor. So I don't think, how is this going to affect you first and then put it out? I always do everything first take, which is why I love lives, because it keeps me accountable. I put it out, consequences be damned. That got me a ton of, well, if you say this, now you got to back it up. And I've always left all of my content up so people could see me switching my positions over the years. Well, when it came down time to fighting my department, so to speak, it was a no-brainer. Well, the last year and a half, you're shooting your mouth off about being authentic and being accountable for what you say and this and that, blah, 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 blah. Now, what are you going to do? You're going to keep your job? Hey, you can resign. You will seal your jacket and you can go over lateral to the next department. That wasn't enough for me. My name was everything. I did nothing wrong. And I'm very confrontational too. You know, I like to fight. And for me, this was, you're going in, you're going all in. So to take on my department, I'm not going to lie, for me personally, I got off on it. This is something nobody else can do. You know, I presented, I wrote a letter demanding my chief's resignation. We did not have a no confidence vote because everybody was terrified of him. But I said, do you want me to do this? Do you want me to do this? And absolutely. So I demanded his resignation. No officer would sign it. I still submitted it. I was absolutely out on my own. And the more I did things like that, the more that my ego was starting to really chime in saying, you're the only son of a bitch who's willing to stand up for this. Everybody's bitching about this. You're going to pay the price. But it felt incredible to be able to stand up to these sons of bitches. That propelled me into more stuff. Run for office. So I ran for Cook County Sheriff, which is the second largest county in the nation, which is where Chicago is. I learned firsthand that your brothers and sisters in blue are not your brothers and sisters in blue. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you the thousands of nationwide police officers who once supported me were now motherfucking me left and right. Mm-hmm. You're a failure. You couldn't cut it in law enforcement. You got fired, this and that. Cops are the biggest crabs in the buckets when it comes to this, any profession out there. You try to succeed, they will try to weigh you back down. That was more fuel on the fire. There's more fuel on the fire. And for me personally, I had no support system. Family wanted nothing to do with it. Anytime I would date somebody, they didn't want to hear fucking shit with it. I was absolutely on my own. And all the content that I had put up on social media put me in a position of, you're going to quit? You're going to drop out of this election? We didn't even make it on the ballot. We couldn't get the signatures necessary, but I still ran as a write-in. I never quit because at that point, now my name and my integrity are everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
No one's going to be backing me. And they didn't. It was horrible. Worst experience of my life with my air quotes, brothers and sisters. Election came and went. And I just continued that application because now I had a fuck you mentality. Now I didn't care because I was doing things that no one else was doing. I was speaking up. I was speaking unpopular things about law enforcement. I was putting out content. I was challenging a police chief. I was running for office. It was a position where I put my balls so far out there that there was, I can't whisk away into the distance and kind of pretend, a couple of years from now that nobody will remember what happened. I could not do that. So once I kind of reached that position and I realized how unbelievably alienated I was and I had no one, everything got easy. Every single thing got easy when I turned around and looked and I said, oh, look, no one is behind me supporting me. So that was the biggest catalyst for me to move forward. And truly, when everyone says, I have zero fucks left. No, you don't. You have a ton of them. I don't. And yes, it has cost me a lot, but it is truly a position. I don't give a shit what anybody thinks about me. And I'm completely fine with that. I'm not here to make friends. I'm absolutely sit there to be as authentic as possible and live my life that way. Because in the end, not one person is going to pay my bills and not one person is going to wind up paying any price I have to after I die anyway. So it's all on my shoulders.
Dom, you said something that I just want to go back and you said a lot of things that I want to talk about, but the first thing is why do you think so about the whole brotherhood? Now I've done whole podcasts on this, when I got, when I got injured, I went from a 50-person department who, oh, Clifford, let's do, will you do this swap with me? Take this overtime. Like, what's up? Let's go grab beers. Let's hang out. We'll do dinner. My husband and I were really tight with our union president, all this stuff. All this shit happens. And now one person from my department reaches out to me. My best friend, who was the union, president, he and his wife uninvite us from their wedding. I mean, like, all of this shit is going on. And I'm like, whoa, you guys, like, what is going on? Why? I don't understand. Why do you think that happened?
That badge is the great equalizer. You're part of something, and I'm sure you guys know I abused it. What a great tool in the back of your pocket to get into bars without being carded or charged for. What a great place. You know how many fights I've ended in bars when I used to go? I'm 5'7". I'm 220 pounds. I'm not that tall of a man, but you know how much of my ego was already big, but you have any idea what it's like to walk up to somebody and say, knock your shit off, I'm a cop? It's unbelievably powerful. But when
it used to be, not today, right?
Not today, I don't know if I would. No, I'm very glad I'm out of the business today. And It is the business. Excuse me. The issue now is you're a leper. You're cast out of the club, if you will. And the problem is everybody knows that if they wind up siding with you, if they wind up, if the command staff has a hard on for you, they're going to find the target.
Yeah.
Problem is if I support you, they're going to get me by association. Everybody knows it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this mentality that all of a sudden you're a leper, and it's just how it goes. And there's no other way to describe it other than, and anybody's ever been disciplined, what happens? You go 25ing. I don't know if you guys call it where you go car to car, and you bitch about it. You bitch about it. Then when it comes, I got a day off for this. Oh, well, that sucks. What do you mean it sucks? You were just agreeing with me 2 days ago about I should fight this and whatnot. Yeah, well, I just no. People are not willing to put their heads in the chopping blocks for stuff they believe in.
I agree. And I think that I have to say, like, I think that adds to just so many things in life, right? Like, obviously, we're talking cops and first responders, but it's definitely not just that. There's so many people who are just so completely inauthentic. I was talking to another police officer buddy of mine. He's a Miami cop, and he and I were talking about how a lot of these influencers who act like they're full-time police officers, or they act like they are these great, like, self-defense instructors, and like all these, they're not. They're shit. But what they're good at is they're good at marketing. Like, that's what they're great at. Like, so the internet loves them, but in real life, they're fucking morons. And it's just like, where's the integrity there, And so what? So you have 100,000 likes on Instagram or followers. So now you're you're the real deal. I should believe everything you say. I don't think so.
Social media was one of the worst things that happened for law enforcement. Granted, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't because of it. But at the same time, too, it has really opened up a big door to bullshit and a lot of talk.
Well, I'm still waiting for an attorney to get a hold of some of these half naked photos, male and female, of officers and really go to fucking town, because I'm just not sure. I don't know I hate it. I hate what it does. Hate how it makes us look. But I also think that, like, if you have a detective who's like the lead on some like very serious homicide case and they're showing their ass everywhere, I don't know. I if I was an attorney, I'd be like, are you sure? Like, I'd bring your credibility right up.
100%.
I would have that everywhere. So one thing that you talked about, which is, I really want to go here with you, because I feel like maybe not a lot of people get to go here with you. So I want to, is, you talk a lot about, we talked about your situation and everything that you've gone through. One thing that like broke my heart is when you said, yeah, well, I'm here now because you don't know what it's like to do what I did and have nobody behind you. That had to fucking, like, can you talk to me about that? Like, that had to have been excruciating.
I expected it. And because it's, I'm sorry, it's just look at anywhere else in life. Most people are talk. Most people are absolutely all talk. I have 4 close friends. I have thousands. hundreds of thousands of acquaintances, right? Because of social media. I have 4 guys that I grew up with, and we've been friends since we were 14, so 31 years of our lives. Outside of that, I don't even family. I don't know who the hell I can count on. So I kind of went into it having a mindset of, you're going to do this, you're going to pull the trigger. Don't think that you're going to get any backing. And I had to be willing to do that, because also the other part of it for me it's a challenge. Part of it comes from my background. I was a high school and college wrestler. And what wrestling taught me was, yeah, you got a team sitting right on the sidelines right there, right at the edge of the mat, and they're all rooting for you. But while you're on your back counting lights, getting your ass kicked, not one of them is allowed to come over and save you. So I was taught individuality, and you lose on your own. You win on your own immediately in the very early stages of life. That was the same thing. I did not count on anybody coming to get my back. But it didn't mean it hurt any less. You had hoped for it, but it really showed me that, the idea, like, I'm not somebody who arbitrarily backs the blue. And if you follow my content, I'm very, very brutal with police officers.
Yep.
I've been talking about the whole mask mandate, how anybody who supports this, they're not a cop anymore. They're a cunt. I talk about police being domestic terrorists. The ideology and the oath that we swore to, that is important to me. But the individual police officer, I couldn't give a fuck about.
Yeah. Well, what made you do that though?
Seeing how it is, seeing how life is right now, and then the hypocrisy, how they are. I mean, you and I have talked about that, how, I'll swear this oath and I honor this oath and I'm about the Constitution. Oh yeah, Sergeant says I have to go out and enforce mask mandates today. Well, I have to do it. I have to do it because I have a paycheck. I have zero respect for that. Zero. Not an ounce of me consider somebody a police officer who will be falling back on I have a paycheck I have to worry about and not take a risk. And I say that because I did take the risk.
Yeah. I think that's it right there. I think what you just hit on something. Like, people can get mad, right? Because you do say things that I don't agree with. I say things you don't agree with, and that's fine. But here's the deal, is that you walked your talk, right? And I just want to say that for anybody listening, like, it's really not about who you agree with. And, if you don't agree with anything that comes out of this show, the one thing you do need to know is that being yourself and being true to yourself is incredibly fucking hard. It is. I mean, Dom, you've talked about how you fucking lost everybody and everything, and what it's like to have nobody behind you. I mean, it's incredibly difficult, especially, in this day and age. But exactly what you said, you're like, well, I'll say what I want because I've done it. I've done this. Like, yeah, but you're not just one of those people who are out there just talking shit to talk shit. There's a lot of people out there that just want to talk a bunch of shit, and they're not actually walking their talk. And that's really important. I want everybody to hear that. Mastermind, listen up. Make sure that you're walking your talk. But right? That's one thing I think we can all agree that Izzo does. I mean, he just says it like it is, and then he completely backs it up, and it is what it is. Whether you believe him or you like it or not, it doesn't fucking matter. And I think, and Dom, that's really one thing that I really respect a lot about you, is that nobody ever has to wonder where they stand with you. Nobody has to wonder.
Nope.
So speaking of that, how are we doing? What's going on politically? Tell me something political, because I don't really follow anything.
Trump 2020. I'm going on Tuesday morning, first in line, and it's the only time I'm wearing a mask. I refuse to wear a fucking mask. If some of you saw the picture that I posted, the infamous Winwell, then you saw me wearing a mask. But
there's a body part that wore a mask.
Yeah, that was the best. Is all the males out there. I didn't know your cock was that small. You're a dude. That's what you're looking at. I love it. I wore nothing but a mask and a photo to prove I won't wear one. But it's the only time I will wear a mask. And politically wise, let's see what happens on November 3rd. But now is a great time. What a great time politically wise either. How many people are afraid to say they're Trump supporters?
Can we talk about 50 Cent really quickly?
Yes, he wrote a great book called The 50th Law with Robert Greene, who wrote War, Seduction, 48 Laws of Power, and I can't recall the other one, who was Success. And he wrote all about how his drug dealing days as an entrepreneur taught him to feel through success. Yeah,
we read, well, I don't know if it's the same book, but we read his is Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter. It could be the same fucking book. I don't know, but we love. I just the one he wrote with Robert Greene. I love that he endorsed President Trump. My favorite thing was, I don't want to be 20 Cent. I want to be 50 Cent.
100%.
Yeah, but you know what? There's another guy being authentic. You know how hard that was for him to do that?
My biggest influence for authenticity, believe it or not, is Mike Tyson.
Ooh.
That man, if I could sit down, I've had some great conversations. This platform got me to communicate and connect with Sheriff Joe Arpaio, right? That guy, I didn't know, but he reached out to my campaign twice when we were running and to endorse me. And somebody on my campaign willingly did not believe it was him and did not give me the message. And at this point, I don't know if that would have helped or hurt because it is Chicago. But I can call him up and I can talk to him, right? Or excuse me, I can listen because he talks worse than I do. I've gotten to hang out with Ted Nugent, another man you listen to, you can't get a word in edgewise. Sheriff Richard Mack, president of the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association. There are some great people. Bernard Carrick, former New York NYPD police commissioner. I've gotten to meet and talk to some amazing people. But if there was one person I could ever sit and literally willfully shut my mouth and listen to, it's Mike Tyson. Now, whatever your views on Tyson are, I'm going to tell you, there is not one human being alive on this planet today who is as authentic as Tyson. He doesn't care anything of what you think of him. He's been through more pain than any human being on the planet. He was used. He's been through physical pain, lost his daughter. I truly believe if you've ever followed anything he says, he has owned up to every single criminal action he's ever done, which is why I believe he's 100% innocent of that rape accusation that time served. There is no human being on the planet who will bear all. And if you've never listened or watched any of the documentaries of his, the man comes through a place of nothing, pain, gaining everything. It's still not enough. It's empty. And he bears all. There is not one human being who is more authentic as him. And I listen to this man speak, him and then two mentors who I've never gotten to meet are Leo Buscaglia. If anybody's my age, they'll remember Leo Buscaglia from the 70s and the 80s. He passed away in the 90s, but he was all about the authenticity of love. He wrote a book called Love, and he used to be on PBS all the time. This very verbose Italian man who would speak. He had this gorgeous beard and dark hair, and he would just speak and yell to the audience. He was all about passion. And then Dan Pena, who's alive today, who is probably one of the most single greatest wealth creators in the world, doesn't give a fuck about anything anybody thinks. He's the opposite of Pena. He's about money, or he's the opposite of Buscaglia. He's about money, not love. But he, again, all three of these men are exactly who they say they are, and there's nothing you can do about it to change they will never change their tone to appease your opinion. Once I got to a threshold of seeing, your air quote friends, your brothers who are on the street that go to every call with you, they are not going to be there for you at one point or time. And once you accept that, accept the fact that your parents won't, your siblings won't, the guy or girl you're dating. I can't tell you how many women I would date come home. Hey, what did you do today? I saw some dead kid, and it was really fucking with my head. Hey, you're the one who chose that job. Great. That's awesome. Your spouses will never understand the job unless they do the job. Yeah. But when you truly embrace, I'm fucking alone, it is a extremely liberating place to be. When you are absolutely fearless in the fact that you are alone, everything becomes limitless.
That's beautiful. Now, how do you, for our listeners, like, what do you suggest this, like, what does somebody do? Like, what are their first steps? Like, what do they do to just be authentic?
Scare the shit out of yourself. Do something you wouldn't normally do. You have to absolutely scare yourself. You have to take risks. No risk, no reward. Whatever risk that is for you. I used to equate that as being an introverted kid. No male today will understand what it's like growing up to have the balls to go face to face to a woman to ask her out. They will never know what it's like in high school to wait, because you got to wait till 8th period, right? Right after class gets out, the buses are about to come out, and you go up to the hot girl's locker, and you're shaking, and you get the adrenaline dump, and your leg is shaking, and you can't feel your leg. Hey, do you want to do something this weekend? And then she says no. You watch all of her friends laugh at you. Everybody's laughing. You walk away, and you're like, I did that. I had the balls to ask her out. They all now text, right, to avoid rejection and face and looking at face contact and facial expressions. That kind of stuff drives me. the thrill of driving me. I'm in an industry now that requires that I bridge the gap on financial education through calling people, calling strangers. I fucking get off on calling strangers. What do you do? What's your profession? Tell me about what you do. I want to do business with you. I love, air quotes, cold calling. I love interviewing. I love telling people, I love your stuff on social media. Come be on my show. I want to interview you. I love facing rejection on everything. Those are little things that I love, because in the end, it's clay. You are constantly building yourself up with clay, piece here, piece there, this, and that. Telling someone I don't hide emotions. My show on Tuesday we do live Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Central to 8 p.m. Central. And now I've got the second highest rated show on our network. They want to take the first rated show and cut into an hour of my time to cover the election. I don't really fucking care, right? I'll just take the day off. I don't care. Nobody's going to be listening to my show on election night. They're going to be watching Fox News or CNN, but it pissed me the fuck off because I wasn't consulted first. So I could sit on it, let it, but no, I have no problem calling my producer and saying, you just let you know, I don't care, but it was fucking shitty what you did to wind up not consulting me first. Consequences be damned. You really want to sit there and growth? Tell somebody exactly how you feel. I don't care if it's your parents. I don't care if it's somebody you can't stand. There is so much more power, in my opinion, telling somebody you can't stand them, because we have no problem telling somebody we love. Oh, I love you. I have this emotions for you. It's a risk, 50-50, but 99% of us will not tell somebody, you know what? Not for nothing. You're a fucking cunt and I cannot stand you. Yeah. You're risking a complete severance of a relationship, of a connection. Okay, it's worth it. And again, if we go back, this is how we developed our connections growing up. You know, again, being a very small introverted kid growing up, got bullied. It wasn't until I started literally physically fighting back that you got respect. Parents are taking that away from kids now. You cannot fight your bully. The only way to gain respect from male's point of view is to stand up for yourself. You don't see that happening. So one of the first things I really suggest anybody do is do something that absolutely terrifies you, that you know in the moment, if you don't do, you're going to turn around and walk away and you're going to be going, I should have said something. When you replay in your head, oh, I had the perfect comeback for that. I just didn't do it at the time. No, pull the pin, get rid of the filter. And if you truly want a catalyst to level up, you have to be willing to say things that others are not willing to say and do things that others are not willing to do. It's so much more than bungee jumping or skydiving or any of that shit. It is risking a relationship with another human being, no matter how small it is, and having them unfriend you, having them not like you, having them walk away. It really doesn't fucking matter.
And so what do you think, what's the reward of living like that?
God, it's amazing sleep at night. I sleep better than I ever have. My business. So our radio show started from the Blaze, Glenn Beck's The Blaze. And we had 6 people who were disgruntled with Glenn, and they left and they started Mojo 50 Radio. And we had an existing group of people who was an audience, probably 20,000 people called the Jackholes. And they were listening. And when I first got hired with the station, they said, the Jackholes are our listener base. And if you piss them off, they're all going to troll you like crazy. And for a good year, I kind of played by the rules of the station. And I just got tired of it, because that was not my audience. That was an audience that had decided to come in and just see and determine my worth, whether or not they were going to like me, and then tell the producers and the CEO if they want to keep me on. The more I was me, the more that my numbers grew. And last year, I just had this conversation with another host about an hour ago, because we were talking about something similar. I said, it was back last October where I said, fuck these jackholes. I'm tired of catering to them. And I went off on this big show where I motherfucked all of them. I was tired of these listeners, blah, 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 blah. This and that is, and absolutely, like expected, my numbers dwindled. My numbers went down bad. I lost half of my audience because of attacking them. Well, it was maybe 3-4 months later, I looked at the numbers. My numbers recovered to where they were and increased, which meant that I actually gained my own audience and more, because I stopped living in the shadow of expectation of others and I did my thing. I went my way. That has gotten me everywhere. I just went to a business conference in Florida this weekend, and they had asked me specifically why what I'm doing is excelling. In the last 3 months, the volume that I've produced for the company I'm with is one of the top, the highest grossing, because they asked me why, what was it? And I had said, in every other thing that I was doing, I was fearless. Radio, I don't give a shit. I've got the second highest show in the last free speech media out platform that there is. On law enforcement, I took the risk. And unqualified, no credentials, no political experience. I decided to run for the second largest county in the nation's sheriff's position. One of the highest, if not the highest position in the county, sans the coroner's position. I did all these things knowing that this is an impossible feat, right? I knew I wasn't going to win the election. Fuck you, I'm going to win it. I'm going in to win it. So, but my biggest hurdle with my company was, all right, how do I bring myself into this company and still be me? And it wasn't until that I gave myself permission to take the dog off the leash and tear shit up the way that I do it, that my stuff started to grow. Same with social media. Instagram, I was never really big on Instagram. I'm big on Facebook, YouTube, all that stuff. And everybody had said, oh, you're a Christian, you love Jesus, but you say fucking cunt, and you talk about being a womanizer. And the more vocal I was about that, the more that I did expose. Listen, I'm a piece of shit sinner. I have a swinging background. I fuck women all the time. I'm married women I'll go after. I say the word fuck, I cunt, all this. And I'm a Trump supporter. When I started to expose those sides of me, my inbox would flood. Thank you for being you. I respect you. I don't agree with you, but I respect you. Blah, 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 blah. And I would get in my inbox, back before LinkedIn booted me, more brass. I'm talking lieutenants, deputy chiefs, federal agents can't support you publicly, but thank God for your voice. I know your story, going through something similar, blah, 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 blah. It wasn't until I was naked, almost literally.
I was going to say, you've done that literally too.
There's another thing too. I'm not in the best shape. COVID has kicked my ass and packed on 20 pounds I don't need. I still take a mask, cover over my junk, and get online and show how fat I am, because I don't care, because I have the balls to do that. Again, now these are things that I don't do for attention. I do because I have to scare myself. I want to feel alive. I don't do drugs. I don't drink, but I need to feel alive in some way. And that is my method of feeling alive, is doing things that make no sense. And everybody criticized me. The more you talk about Trump, the more that your business is going to hurt. No, people want polarizing views. The more that you talk, you're a womanizer. You're never going to get elected in office. I can't tell you how many people want me to run again for sheriff in 2022. Regardless of the content I put out, all these Christians say that you're foul mouthed. Nope. All these Christians are in my inbox saying, oh my God, thank you for being authentic. So it does come at a cost, though. I'm not saying that you should do this stuff, because, it's really, it is hard to explain, because I've also alienated myself. There are women who they're like, oh my gosh, let's go on a date. And I'm like, do you know who I am? No, not really. Take a look at me. It's like, how does some girl decide to date me and then explain to her family, or if she has kids, dating me, right? Oh, mom, he says this, he talks about his past. He's got a real taboo past, all this stuff. How does anybody, you and I talked about this. Anytime I invite somebody on my show, I'll go out and meet somebody. Listen, you are fantastic. I want you on my show, blah, blah. And I'll tell them, but I want you to look at me first, because you have an audience. I don't want people looking at you and saying, oh, Clifford, you go on Izzo's show. He's a piece of shit. Yeah. How could you associate that guy? So and we've lost people. We've had some great guests on and go, yeah, we can't do the show because of how your views are. So there is always a cost for things. I don't think it's always roses. A lot of times it's the manure that fertilizes the roses, but you value the roses that pop up more than anything else.
Well, and you get to live a life, like you said, it's pretty limitless. You're not stuck in a box. You're not putting yourself in a box. You are totally broken the fuck out of that box. Any box. You just do your own thing. And I just think it's very admirable. Dom, where can people find you?
Easiest place is to Google anything Dominick Izzo or go to our website, izzo.us, izzo.us. It'll forward you to all our social media, our live show, our podcast, all that kind of stuff. Our cigar, our coffee, our book.
And what is it? Is it Dominick Izzo on Instagram?
Yeah. Yep. DOMINICKIZZO.
Sheepdog Nation, make sure you go check Dominick Izzo out. He's been a really good friend of mine for the last couple of years. And I just don't think you're going to find somebody who's more authentic and in your face as he is. Dom, thank you so much.
You got to remember, though, I keep saying, you will find me dead in a pool of my own urine in my favorite lazy boy in my $9 million mansion, but I'll be alone. So the one thing that people have to understand, and I've accepted it, is it is very liberating. It's very freeing, but it's not void or sands of pain.
Yeah.
It's just, I've lived exactly. I do what I want to do. I live how I want to live, but I can't stress this enough. The risk is one thing, but I also am very aware, and Autumn and I have talked about this quite a bit. I'm very self-destructive. I know that some risk is going to cost me almost more than the prize is worth at times, but still, I like being able to say, I did that. What have you done? And that unfortunately is pure ego. And I'm still working to learn to balance that. I'm very egocentric. I'm very aware I have narcissistic tendencies, very aware that, I'm very self-alienating and self-destructive, but I can't go back to mediocrity, and I can't go back to, because the one thing, and I'll end it on this, is however somebody looks at me, that is the image I want them to see. Meaning that if they do depend on me, I don't care if they want to do business with me, if they want to become a listener, they want to become a business partner, they want to date me, I can't live as a human being knowing that I'm not who I say I am. And a relationship I had 10 years ago, it was a bad relationship, but the greatest compliment this woman ever paid me during a screaming argument is, I fucking hate you because you are exactly who you say you are. And that's everything to me. But that's my journey. And it's I like I said, it's alone, and I pay the price.
Yeah, but it's powerful. I think it's powerful. And if anybody can even just be, 70% like you, I think they're going to live a very liberating life.
Good luck.
Sheepdog Nation, we'll see you next time.
They buried me in the water and I came, I knew. Ha ha. Now I'm baptized in blue.
I'm a winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got grit. See, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, never winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got grit. See, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue.
They buried me in the water in the Holy Ghost. I came out with a badge and gun and a heart that said never run. I signed up for a job you wouldn't dare to do. This ain't no green screen movie, don't compare the two. We look at your actions in the elements and everything relevant. If they line up, prepare to pay the consequence. You do dirt, you get cussed, no bluff. It's ignorant to think we will shoot with your hands up if you the police. You feel the world is against you, like every call you go to, people trying to tempt you. Well, Hail Mary, Hail Mary, Hail Mary. I ride on the devil, I ain't scary, and I ain't worried. You want my life, come take it, it's gonna be a fight. I take you to the light, like Will and Bright. I wouldn't expect you to understand what I do, only the thin blue line, cause they baptized in blue.
I'm a fighter, I'm a winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got grit. See, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, never winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got grit. See, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue.
I can't explain the pain when I see a name on the wall. All I feel is rage, put me in a cage, let me brawl. Sometimes I can't help but cry, like why did he die? I know it was him, but it could have been I. What about the kids? What about the spouse? Yeah, now who gon' put food inside them babies' mouth? It's a bigger picture when the officer down. Domino effect, Blue Nation, family, country, and town. The media don't cover us, well maybe Fox, cause MSNBC TV and CNN surely don't care about cops. Politicians more concerned about protecting the legal instead of laying the law down and protecting the people. Let me get off my soapbox before I curse. I don't seen way too many cops riding in hearse. Well, I wouldn't expect you to understand what I do. Only the thin blue line, cause they baptized in blue.
I'm a fighter, I'm a winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got grit. See, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, I'm a winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got grit. See, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue.
If I'm faced with a mission, I'm gonna complete it. If that means being deleted, I live with the credence. I do this for the combat vets and LEOs. When I'm suited, ready to go, it's either friend or foe. Only Lord knows what my future's in store. I only kill with the hope to see more, so God don't close that door. If I take a life, it's him or me, with the hopes to survive, not bigotry. I go in situations that you cannot imagine, deal with things that you cannot fathom. No if buts or rather, I'd rather fight for a cause than live for nothing. So when you read my headstone, you know I died for something. You hypersensitive shit complain by justified force. You blame the cops first, that don't work, you blame the courts. But I wouldn't expect you to understand what I do. Only the thin blue line, cause they baptized in blue.
I'm a fighter, I'm a winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got grit. See, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, I'm a winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got grit. See, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue.